Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Roy and you're watching Roy Day Strength and Conditioning. Before we get started, I'd like you to all go down quickly, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button and show me that you really appreciate my videos so I can keep them coming. And let's get straight into what today's video is all about. Today's video is revisiting power or the different variations that I've talked about before in one of my videos as part of the strength and conditioning block, but today is different variations of that power that you can do only with your body weight and within your homes. So if you haven't watched my video previously where I've elaborated on what power is or what power training is, go and check it out. I'll add the link up top. Revisiting where we left off the last time, power is all about generating maximum force in the minimal amount of time. So what we really have to focus on is not lot of repetitions or heaps of volume. What we have got to concentrate on is applying maximum force in the minimum amount of time. And so if you repeatedly do something that has ballistic movements or things that you're throwing or you're jumping and stuff like that, there's going to be a stage where you're going to fatigue and you're not going to generate as much power as you want. So you want your repetition range to be really low, and everything's about quality of the movements, even if they're fewer repetitions, but generating maximum force in all of those efforts. So I hope that's really simple and that comes across, because often you see so many people are training methods where you include jumping or any plyometric stuff and they consider that to be power, and it's not necessarily true, because when you're doing that for 30 second periods or 40-second periods, it no longer is power. It becomes a form of high intensity interval training where you're not generating maximum force but you're working under fatigue. So it's more like a conditioning exercise as compared to a power exercise. Getting into the video now, this exercise we're going to talk about here is the plyometric lunge drive. So you will step backwards into a lunge, and from there, as you drive your right knee up, you will drive up and create as much force as you can with that driving knee. So it's simply a lunge but a driving motion, and you must make sure that your opposite hand and opposite leg is always working. So if your right leg's up, your left leg step back and then drive through in a running kind of motion, generating maximum force. The next one is a hand release power push-up. So it's like a push-up with an added shoulder tap movement in it. So you will lie down completely flat on the ground with your chest on the ground. From there, push your hands into the ground, pushing the ground away from you, and add a shoulder tap on each shoulder once you reach the top. So it's about generating maximum force away from the ground, like you're pushing away, and when you're at the top, you've got to stabilize your torso and then shoulder tap on each shoulder before you go back. Moving on to the next exercise, air squats to a squat jump. So simply air squats are body weighted squats controlling a squat almost to parallel, and then once you reach down on the third one, you've got to generate maximum force to get as much air as you can. So now driving those knees into your chest and getting as much height as you can off the ground. So 2 air squats and your third one's powering through and getting as much air as you can. This one's a kneeling squat drive. So you will sit down kneeling, resting your legs onto your heels, and from there you'll try and drive up. Now this could be a bit challenging at the start, but it really encourages drive of the hips, where our hips or our glutes being the biggest muscle of our body, or one of the biggest muscles of our body, are able to generate lots and lots of force. So once you learn to drive that hip up, all of the movements from the hip and very little from your knee joint. So because your knees are bent down to the bottom, they don't really create any force. Your hips are generating all the force as you pop them up and come and land onto your feet. So an excellent exercise to learn how to generate all of that force through your hips, which is really good for jumping power, for sprinting power, so on and so forth. Moving on to the next one. This one's a single leg RDL, a Romanian deadlift to a skater jump hold. So you will start on your left foot, on your right foot, whichever you choose is best for you, simply hinging forward into that RDL, reaching forward, and once you're back up, you will drive to the side, generating force now laterally, not just vertically but laterally out to the side, and then try and hold your balance. As soon as you land there, and you've got to drive back up. So it's a bit of a complex movement that has multiple angles involved in it, but is really sport specific from the point of view where you've got to sometimes jump forward, you've got to jump vertically up, you've got to jump laterally in all directions, and also be able to hold your body weight and your balance while you're doing this ballistic movement. Moving on to the next one, this one's a plank knee drive. So you start in a plank, and so it's just like a mountain climber but with 2 feet, but you've got to drive your knees both in together into your chest and land back into that plank. So it's absolute like of importance that you keep a very good strong torso. You don't like hyperextend with your back and your hips don't touch the ground. You drive those knees in, and almost like a springy motion, got to get back and keep tension while you hold that plank back out again. And the final exercise is plyometric lunges. So this one's similar to the first exercise, but there is a switch component in it. So now, because of the switch, there is a neural drive where we have to change our foot stance from one foot to the other. So you've got to generate height by generating maximum force, and then while that happens, you've got to swap your legs and come across onto the other leg, which again mimics our running motions, or as jumping and swapping feet in the air, which often happens and you don't realize these movements. So again, generating maximum force away from the ground so you get that height, and then switching legs and a nice soft landing before you go on to the next one. So these are the exercises out of the many that you can do for power training. What I would really focus on is all the cues that I just gave you. So you can do an exercise that'll look very similar, but you won't get the benefits out of it if you're not focusing on the absolute detail of everything that you do. So that is very key, and like I say, it's always quality over quantity and not the other way around, or it depends what you're trying to achieve out of your training. But for power, it's always quality and maximum force over quantity. You never want to exchange those two variables, and you want to keep them constant. So I hope you really enjoy the session. I hope you really enjoy these videos and these exercises, and I will try as much as I can to keep coming back with exercises, videos, and all of the tools that you can have in your toolbox to maximize your performance and spend all of that time on the pitch and not outside. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys the next time.